Welcome to Outback Wilderness Adventures. In this video I'm going to show you briefly that you can indeed with one person set up a CVT Cascadia vehicle tents 55-inch Pioneer awning. I really like this awning. I think it fits perfectly on the Outback. It's enough to give shade in most conditions, or really any condition if you're creative about where you park. And it looks good up there, especially with the gray. And it's just the right size for what I wanted. I didn't want a huge bazooka looking thing on the top of my car, but it certainly is incredibly simple to set up with two people. With one person, as you'll see in this video as we go through here, it can be, what's the word, cumbersome? It's a little cumbersome, and by a little I mean extremely cumbersome. In fact, if you're not careful, it's easy for it to swing away from you and smash into the car. So you try to kind of creatively angle the poles as you see I'm doing here. It's really neat the way the poles work. I think most awning systems are this way, where you just twist the poles like you would a trekking pole, like if you're hiking, and then get it to the extension that you want, and then tighten it back down by twisting it, and it stays that far. So here what I'm trying to do is maintain control of these ground poles so that I can get the cross poles in place without this swinging away. So I'm just kind of tucking the awning material itself over the edge, just enough to get out of the way where I can reach in and pull those cross members out. They expand and collapse the same way the ground poles do. You have to be careful here. If you go in at a weird angle, the little nipple, if you will, that goes into the cross beam that's in my right arm right now, there's a hole that little nipple goes into to stabilize that pull and kind of lock it into place. And if this thing swings around too much on you, I could see how you might break that. I don't know if you noticed the little rubber piece that locks it into the channel fell off right there. I didn't notice it at the time, but we'll find it later and put it back where it goes. But this would probably be done by now with two people. I mean, I think it took me just over 5.5 minutes to set it up myself. Really, probably about exactly 5.5 minutes. With two people, if it's taking you more than 2.5 minutes, you're probably doing something wrong. See here, like if you're not careful, that could have smashed into the car. You certainly wouldn't want the corner of that cross member that my left arm's on now to, especially the corner of that. It's aluminum, to catch your window and then shatter your window. So I'm having to kind of play around with it. And then, once you get it to this point, it's just about adjustment. I mean, at this point, one person, two person it's not that big of a deal. It certainly has tie downs. You can see the little ropes on the corners right where my hands are. At the front, there's places to put, guy lines and tent stakes and all that stuff. It comes with all that, but just for these purposes, I didn't pull all that stuff out. In fact, every time I've ever used it, I haven't even needed to use the guy lines. There wasn't enough wind or anything like that. So anyway, then you can put these little Velcro straps around to hold the awning itself, the material taut on the frame. And there's that little black thing. You're like, wait a minute, where'd this go? And there it is. So I'll just pop that out of the, twist it, unlock it, and then I can pop that little rubber piece back on. It would be important to keep those. That's what keeps these cross members and the ground poles have, as well, as you can see. It keeps them from bouncing around that little channel they fold into. But it's pretty easy to put it back in there. One thing I really like about this CVT awning, I'm not sure about all of them, but certainly the Pioneer has a built-in LED light strip. So unfortunately, the way the Outback works, if you have the ignition off, all of your plugs, your AC plugs, DC plugs, all the plugs, none of them work with off. You have to turn on the accessory mode, and then they have a tendency to drain the battery. So excuse me, what I've done is just got a Rockpals battery generator, 350 watt battery generator. It's pretty much all it'll ever do is run this LED light bar if I've got this set up camping or something at night, and charge cell phones here and there. I'll probably get a solar panel, 100-watt solar panel for it, but it's pretty easy to get the LED all plugged in. You could plug this into your car depending on the kind of car you have. There is a cigarette lighter type plug in the back of the hatch, but once again, with the vehicle off, It doesn't do me a whole lot of good unless I turn all the accessory modes on, which once again will drain the battery. In fact, on the Outback, just having the hatch up of it, and eventually it drains your battery. It's doing something electrical and mechanical to keep the hatch open, so you can't even keep that open unless you put a carabiner in the latch so that it thinks it's closed. But you can see the light pop on right there. It's perfectly bright for what it is. And there you go. Pretty happy with that. Once again, not impossible to set up by yourself, certainly suboptimal though. And here in a second, we'll show you the process by which we put it back together by yourself. Okay, and here we are, same things, just sort of in reverse, single person stowaway, I guess, what you'd call it. So first, obviously, gonna unplug the built-in LED light bar. This comes with quite a few little attachments. You know how you can plug this in. You can clip it right to a battery. It's got this long cord that I'm using here that plugs into a cigarette lighter type, adapter, or I've got it running off that power box you see on the ground there. Solar generator, I guess is what they call it. Solar battery generator. Rockpals 350 watt. And then it's pretty much the same thing you saw me do the first time, just in reverse. And I've tried it a couple of different ways. I've tried both in setup and takedown, do the legs first or the crossbars first, and it seems to work. Neither one of them, once again, are optimal by yourself. In fact, here I was an idiot and forgot to undo the Velcro that holds it on there. Probably should have done that first. And here it is trying to follow me, and I want to make sure I don't damage the awning, but certainly don't want to damage the brand new car even more. So I'm trying to keep my body between the awning crossbar and the car at all times, so that if it does slip or fall, or I'd rather it bump into me than bump into that beautiful car you see behind me. So once again, I've tried it a couple different ways by myself, and this seems to be the most efficient methodology, really by yourself or with another person, is to do the legs first and then the crossbars next. Ooh, that was so close to hitting it. Oh my goodness, but it didn't. Thank you, Jesus. And then doing the reverse order to put it away. And what you're seeing here is struggle bus as it seems, because it is. This has been the easiest way to do this by myself and with another person. So I've got the two crossbars stud, or stabilizing bars rather, and then it's just a matter of holding the crossbar that's in my left hand steady while you fold this in. It's not very heavy. I don't know off the top of my head what it weighs. You probably have Google, so you could look it up, but it's not heavy by any stretch of the imagination. It's just cumbersome to do by yourself. I was really concerned, and would have been with any awning, that once these types of things often, at least for me, once you take them out one time, they never want to go back in as easily as they came out. Like they have some kind of special magic in the factory to pack them away, but that has not been the case at all with the CVT awning. It's every single time I've used it, it's one roll up, snaps into place. There's these little straps, as you can see I'm working with there, that keeps that tight and from bouncing around. And I've never had a problem getting it back in the bag. Never had any problem with water getting into the bag. I've done a couple, about 1,500 miles with this on the roof of the car in all kind of weathers. In fact, I use it as a command center responding to Hurricane Ida. And there it is. In fact, it's right in front of, the way you see it right now, it's right in front of my kayak rack, and I've banged kayaks into it, no problem. So super awesome awning, but much easier to do with another person. Thanks for tuning in.